loves, Scarlet Everose here. Today we're diving into one of the most beloved and emotionally complex characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuta Okkotsu. At first glance, Yuta appears quiet, shy, and uncertain of himself, but beneath the gentle personality is someone carrying immense grief, guilt, and responsibility. His journey isn't about becoming stronger. It's about learning how to live again after loss, finding purpose, and discovering his own worth. Segment 1. Who is he? Yuta Okkotsu is one of the most powerful sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen. Student at Tokyo Jujutsu High, a special grade sorcerer, a childhood friend of Rika or Mito, possesses an extraordinary cursed energy. Unlike many characters, Yuta's story begins with tragedy. After losing someone he deeply loved, his life became forever connected to the world of curses. So real quick on Yuta, so he had a girl that she was really in love with him, and he was, at the time he didn't know if he liked her or not, but he had them sort of it was starting to develop into a crush. And then the girl got into a car accident, and and he felt really guilty because he didn't say his feelings. And then spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the show, but she turned into her spirit turned into a curse, a curse energy. If you guys don't know what a curse energy or anything, I'm just gonna wing it here. A curse energy is basically, think of it like this. Like, it's all the negative energy becoming a monster, and it's attached to you. And what Jujutsu Kaisen really is, I explain it a lot in my other videos. I will put a playlist and other videos that I think I get into it more, and I think my Satoru Gojo's episode, I will link it up here so you guys can go watch it, but I'm just gonna wing it here. So it's like like I said, it's like a negative thing that latches onto you, and it becomes bigger and bigger. And these sorcerers like Gojo, Yuta, Nobara, all these characters I'm naming, they become sorcerers, and they basically help get rid of them, basically. And they, and like I say, because for example, with Yuta, one of his cursed energies becomes because of his guilt for not telling, I think her name was, let me see, I think her name was, Rika, yeah. So Rika was the girl that, that she had he had a crush on her, and then I think she had a crush on him, or I think it was, vice versa, I think. But either way, both of them really liked each other, but he was too shy to tell her, right? And, and then when she got into a accident because a car went past her and, ended her, her soul didn't end though, but her life did. And then he felt extremely guilty about it. And, she became a cursed energy, but she became one of the good cursed energies. She's very possessive over him, very much in love with him. That's her man. that is her man. Always will be her man. And she protects him, he protects her, and he wears this ring that, that they can connect, with each other. And, if he's dealing with other cursed energy, she comes out to protect him, depending, if his energy goes low and stuff. But what's interesting about Yuta is that, like I said, he was a very shy kid. He was very cowardly at first because, you know, of guilt, and, you know, he didn't feel like he was worthy of protecting others until he met Gojo. And I might put this on the screen, but I think they are related. I think they're like half cousins, I think. I might put it on the screen if I'm wrong, or you guys can comment down below if I'm wrong. But yeah, but he learns a lot from Gojo, and spoilers ahead too. Gojo actually puts Yuta in charge of whatever happens to him. Yuta is his most trusted sorcerer that he puts in charge of everyone else if something happens to Satoru or Gojo, by the way. Okay, if you guys are confused, okay, real quick, I know this is a Yuta video, but if you guys don't know, Gojo is Gojo's last name, but Satoru is his first name. So I might say Gojo, I might say Satoru throughout this video. So if you guys want to know who Satoru is, he's the most popular character in Jujutsu Kaisen. And like I said, he was the first person when I got into JJK. He was the first person I did an analysis on, so you guys can go watch the video. Anyway, going back to Yuta, so he felt very unworthy of protecting others until he met, you know, Makai. And I've also done a video on her as well, and she tells him, look, you know, you can't let guilt you know, be the reason that you stop, you know, enjoying your life. And she actually is very hard on him. And then I heard, I'm not too sure, but the manga readers can let me know down below, but I think Makai and Yuta become something. I'm not too sure though. But anyway, you know, Yuta becomes, you know, very guilty until he meets the Juju. This is like way before, you know, Yuji, what's his face? Megami, Nabara went to school. Like, he's a lot older, I think, than they are. And he, you know, at first he doesn't like Yuji because he thinks he's taking, you know, his position away from, you know, being the next sorcerer. So what's interesting is at first he was very much a coward, you know, very shy, very timid, until he learned pretty quickly that he can't let guilt and, you know, and sadness be the only thing affecting his life. He has to keep moving forward. So, you know, he becomes an interesting person, coming from, you know, a very shy, timid, almost cowardly person to, you know, a badass that can swing swords, doesn't flinch at blood, doesn't flinch at, you know, cutting sorcerers apart, or sorcerers apart, curse energy apart, or other, you know, other people that are like that sorcerers. That's what I also meant as well. So yeah, he's a really interesting character. Alright, let's keep going. Segment 2. Grief, guilt, and isolation. What makes Yuta so relatable is the emotional burden he carries. He struggles with loneliness, blames himself for Rika's suffering. He also feels afraid of hurting others, and he also questions whether he deserves happiness. For much of his journey, Yuta isn't fighting enemies, he's fighting his own guilt. His story shows how grief can isolate a person and make them forget their own value. So real quick on that, I want to say something on that real quick. Remember, you guys, these are just depending on how you think of them and how you think of your own situation. Remember, these are temporary emotions. It depends on how you view them and how you on how your mindset views on these emotions. They can be permanent if you allow, listen to what I'm saying, allow them to be permanent. But like I said, every emotion is temporary. Look, we have moments of seasons. We have moments of happiness, moments of sadness, moments of growth, moments of heartbreak, moments of, betrayal, moments of everything. But remember, all of these are temporary emotions. It's our choice. And it's our decision whether we stick on it every day or we choose to change. But I will say this. People will change on you. People will betray you. People will, do a lot of things that, a human being is a human being. But there are people out there that are kind, that are selfless, that are amazing people, and if you allow yourself to be around those type of people, they make you but they make you realize that moving forward is the best thing you can do for yourself, because grief, isolation, loneliness, sure, it's so powerful. You feel like you can't do anything. It feels like you're stuck, like you have a piece of gum on your shoe that won't let you go, or like a force that's holding you back. But remember, remember, you can move forward. Everything is temporary. Not everything stays the same. You have to be okay with what you feel, with what you do, and with what you decide to do, but just be careful on who you allow yourself and who you say these things to, because people can either be with you through the worst and the best, or use that against you. So be very careful. And most importantly, I always say this, you guys, but 99 out of 10, in my personal opinion, we criticize ourselves more than other people criticize us. Everybody projects something onto someone for any reason. But remember, you either take that personally or use that as fuel and prove to yourself that you don't need to stick. You don't need to deal with that. You don't need to tolerate that. Like I said, every emotion is temporary. We just either choose for it to be permanent if we allow it to be permanent. But like I said, emotions are temporary, and I've heard this quote so many times, that do not make decisions whether you're angry, sad, or whatever, because those actions have consequences, and people forget consequences exist, regret exists, karma exists, everything exists. There's always a connection to something. So do not make choices that very well, if you're this type of person, that you're self-aware, that it's bad. And I can't tell you what to do. Hey, you do what you do, right? But remember, you can't say, oh my god, why did anyone stop me? Dude, nobody's going to stop you if you're always gonna say, I need to do this, or you don't understand me. Trust me, I've used that so many times. I've thought about it. But the only person we're saying that to is ourselves. And to be honest, more than hearing someone compliment us and telling us that we're gonna be okay, even though that's wonderful, and that's, say that to someone. You go call someone up, say, hey, you matter, blah, 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 blah. But the most person that needs that is yourself. Forgiveness is yourself, cause you put up with yourself more than anyone in the world. And just be very careful on how you relate on these emotions. And like I said, Yuta is an inspirational story, because he was guilty and everything else to become the greatest sorcerer next to, next to Satoru Gojo, that he was like, hey dude, if anything happens to me, you're in charge. Like, dude, that is like what you call it? Like, that's like, wow, okay, somebody's giving me an opportunity. So we use that opportunity, you guys. Opportunities come and go every day. Life doesn't stop. You will age. You will get old. Nobody's immortal, you know? So do it now before you look back on your life and say, oh, why didn't I do this? What? No. Do it now. Do it scared. Do it whatever. But don't stop. Truly do not stop. And for anyone going through a situation or guilt or whatever, December, look, I know I just said that, you know, it will get better, and it will. But start being kind with yourself, whether reading quotes or meditate or do whatever makes you happy. And don't forget, these moments are temporary. Don't let them be permanent. Like I said, use this story as an inspiration to be better and improve yourself. Not to prove to others, but to prove to yourself that you can make it forward. And you will. Alright, let's keep going. Segment 3, his growth and strength. As Yuta grows, we begin to see a different side of him. Learns to trust others, gains confidence in himself, protects those he cares about, accepts responsibility without being consumed by it. What makes Yuta inspiring isn't just his power, it's his willingness to keep moving forward, like, despite the pain he's experienced. Now, I know I said in my segment 2, do not trust anyone. And yes, do not trust because people can change on you. But that doesn't mean that people that are actually kind, people that are actually genuinely kind, I'm not saying kind in a way that they're willing to gain something from you. No, stay the hell away from those people. No, those are not genuine people. Those are just people that use that as a word to just, to gain something, right? No, people that are genuinely kind and genuinely sweet are people that every single day they're improving themselves. And look, we all have insecurities, we all have this, but I will say this, as a kind person, selfless person myself, I'm saying we as, as a group of, genuinely kind people, we don't want to see anyone actually suffer. We want to see them improve and, be better than what they think they are. But here's the thing. Because in those segments is to gain trust in others, yes. When you don't trust, like I said, don't trust anyone, but the people, don't think everyone else is out to get you, because not everybody is. We make that because it's a defense mechanism that we've been heard over and over, that we start forgetting that there's genuinely kind people in the world. So what I'm saying is, do not become a bitter person just because someone hurt you. That's how people hurt others, is when they let their heart be cold. Now, I'm not saying do not be a walkover and let people disrespect you. No. Have boundaries. Like, do not be afraid of not being liked. The thing about genuinely kind, confident people is it's not that we don't care. We don't, when it comes from a person that is, for one, below our level. We don't waste time on that. And a person that, if they're not willing to improve, they're not your people, period. And, but be with people that actually want to see you be better and are willing to call you out and be real with you and say, hey, you need to, stop doing, but make decisions not on what people are telling you, but what you feel is right for you. Because people can say, even genuinely kind people can say out of the goodness of their heart, but at the end of the day, you know yourself. And you know what's best? And look, look, I'm not gonna shove this down people's throats, but if you believe in God, you know, listen to what God says, if you believe in Him. But, you know, I'm not forcing that down on your throat. But anyway, my point is, you know what's best, you know your journey, people are gonna come and go. Even the people that are confident, that are kind, look, life is a revolving door, and you cannot say, oh, this person's gonna be there. Sure, they might, but do not rely on people to validate you when you should be validating yourself. I know that sounds a little bit selfish, but let's be real. Like I said in my first segment, we deal with ourselves more than people deal with us. And, and we gotta move forward. Life starts once we're born, and life ends once we die. Like, let's be real. And, people can come and go. That's the thing, but like when I heard that, like, it made me think, like, okay, what is gaining trust? Gaining trust is trusting yourself enough to, like, know that you'll make good decisions. I'm not saying you'll make perfect decisions, because that honestly, that doesn't really exist. Nobody makes perfect decisions, but if you make decisions enough to allow yourself to make mistakes, that is my whole point. And, you are responsible. Seriously, you are responsible for your own freaking happiness. Oh my Lord. Trust me, I'm calling myself out here too. But holy crap, the amount of people I've seen trying so hard to make others, no. Genuinely kind people, you don't have to force yourself to make people like you. That is, no. Genuinely kind people are not there to say, oh, please do that. No. We understand if you're having a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day. And that's okay. That's okay, Look, and I know this is easier said than done, but being a people pleaser, being, trying to, you're losing yourself trying to please people that rather sit down and sometimes not reflect on themselves, because, they either don't like themselves or whatever. But my point is, you guys, is, if you truly are genuinely happy with yourself, the actual genuine kind people will look bad for you. But honestly, in order to trust those type of people, you have to trust with yourself that you will make mistakes, but you will be an accountable, responsible person. That's the thing. And Yuta took a long time with that. Yuta took a long time for a while until he had people that, like, for example, my guy, she was hard on him, but she wasn't being hard on him to be mean. No, she was hard on him because she knew he had potential, but she didn't freaking care if anything happened to him, because she was proving to herself, not to others, that, look, people come and go, but you choose whether you stay put or you keep going. So, to be honest, be a Makai, be a person that you will be there for someone, but you're not gonna babysit them or be a therapist to them. Some people need to work on their own crap, need to work on their own shit, and they can, you cannot be a reliable person all the time and protect people from their own mistakes. That doesn't work that way. So Yuta took a long time, but like I said, he still is a kind-hearted person, but he just doesn't take shit. And nobody should take shit from anybody, not even yourself sometimes. Alright, I was really passionate in this. Alright, let's keep going. Segment 4. Final thoughts plus what's next. Yuta Okkotsu is more than just a powerful sorcerer. He's a character shaped by love, loss, healing, and growth. His journey teaches us that grief doesn't have to define who we become. Sometimes the strongest thing we can do is to keep living. Yes, you guys, so, before I end it here, I want to say, you got this, and it's gonna take some shit to be like, hey, I need to focus on myself, not focus on what other people are telling me. Focus on those people. I will say this though, focus on those people that actually understand you, but they're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, no, like, everything, no, like, they will be honest with you and be like, hey, I know this shit hurts, but you need to get up and stand up, because nobody's gonna do it for you. And it's true, nobody is gonna do it for you. And look, we all want comfort, and there's always an opportunity to be comforted. But if we're always gonna be told, no, it's okay, it's, you'll get through this, sure, that may help you, but really ask yourself, is it gonna make me improve, or is it gonna make me repeat it until I don't know what to do, find people that will hold you accountable and will say things you don't like. But remember, at the end of the day, you're not doing this because people are telling you. You're doing this for yourself and for improving on yourself, no matter what anyone tells you. You take the advice, but at the end of the day, you either listen to that advice or you keep doing what you're doing. So, yeah, but anyway, you guys, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. This actually has to be my most passionate video, because I love inspiring you guys and, telling it for what it is, and just listening to my own recording helps me realize some things that, look, when you say it to yourself, more than listening to what other people tell you, it really hits a lot more than versus you're hearing it from someone else. It's when you hear yourself, that's when it hits. So my advice to you guys is say things to yourself that will improve, rather than people that are just saying it to you, because at the end of the day, you're not those people and they're not you. So yeah, so keep moving forward, you guys. It's not easy, but it will lead, if you choose to, it will lead to a beautiful destination, and it will get better. Alright, guys, follow me on my socials down below, and next week, I'll be putting up again the poll again for to do another character. If you guys, I will have to look into what a character we're gonna do next, like poll wise, and you guys can choose that. Again, thank you guys so much for being patient with me, on this, journey with my health and stuff. But I'll be okay. I will be okay. I will keep you guys updated on my Instagram. And, yeah, thank you all so much for listening, and, like and subscribe and comment down below. Alright, guys, love y'all. Bye.